This is a bit of a sad story. This is about a group that were doing school lunches that for some strange reason, Chewie, I don't know what's happened out there, but are no longer the local group doing school lunches.
A last supper. After making over 270,000 school lunches, a community came together to serve those.
Sorry, let's just have a look at those lunches as we're doing this. They're burger buns. Looks like they've got crumb chicken in them. They've got lettuce and cheese. Pretty appetizing. Those look like muffins, like those kind of, McDonald's type muffins. Pretty good food. That looks like pretty good food to me.
That had served them, following Associate Education Minister David Seymour's overhaul of the school lunch program.
And Erica Stanford's. Don't leave her out.
The $3 lunches have copped criticism from schools and students for quality, dietary compliance and lateness, which Seymour described as teething issues. But for charity-based organisations like Nourish Oraka in Shirley, one of Christchurch's most deprived suburbs, the new regime means more than the loss of a delivery contract.
When we set up the Free and Healthy School Lunches program, it was about providing a free and healthy lunch to kids, but it was also about creating jobs, connecting schools with communities, and actually dealing with overall well-being for the kids and for their families. I think we've lost a lot of that with the cut price lunches that the government's now delivering.
In 2 paragraphs of a 14-page cabinet report from last September, Seymour acknowledged an estimated 140 lunch contractors like Nourish Oraka would be impacted.
140. 140. Small business, parties of small business, 140 small businesses that you're putting out. Holy mackerel.
But the report didn't say how many people would be made redundant and didn't discuss the social impact of shifting to a centralised system.
It brought employment, it brought joy, and Nourish also offered food to other groups. Now it's gone. It's a sad loss. It's unemployment. Children are missing out, and it just makes it harder on this community.
Seymour sympathises, but says the costs of the old model were impossible to justify.
The government cannot spend twice as much to support or prop up businesses and charities when its real goal.
So we'll spend half as much and give them 1/10 of the product.
Is to deliver affordable and nutritious school lunches for children.
That's no comfort to Nourish Oraka's employees. Most of them were solo mothers who had been out of the workforce for a long time and found it impossible
back on the dole.
to find jobs.
And now they'll be back on the dole or back on the DPD. And then this government will be doing whatever they can to get them off that, when they were at least in part off that before this government shut down the place that they were off that for, or at least part-time off that for.
Fitted within school hours close to home.
It was a business that local people worked in. It supported local kids could come in here and get after school jobs. There was a number of people who this was a pathway back into work for them. So there were so many positive things that came out of this business, and all of those go when this business goes.
Their job is to do their business. Our job is to deliver healthy school lunches to children at the most competitive price and the best quality.
And just best quality, bear with us, baby birds. Remember, he said it twice. Best quality, competitive price. Cheaper, competitive price, best quality.
We've done our
best
job,
meal you've ever had.
And it's still free to seek work and make the most of their time as well.
The new lunches have proved unpopular with some students.
I have felt sick before eating them because I just don't like the flavour of it.
It's fair to say David Seymour has more than enough food for thought.
Oh God, puns are the worst form of comedy. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is that there was a post by Carmel Cepoloni today. I visited Glen Eden Primary School this morning. It's literally up the road from my electorate office. I always feel welcome there. Thank you, Donna Sojan, principal, and Catherine Aben, deputy principal, for hosting me. They are still using Lunch with Crunch to do their school lunches and have no complaints. Beautiful Kai. They are sad for Lunch with Crunch, given the number of contracts they lost and the 30 people who had to be laid off after David Seymour and the government changed the program. They're also worried about next year when they will have to switch to Compass, clearly the caliber of school lunch the kids are getting from their local provider is of a much higher standard. At what point will Erica Stanford step in and clean up the mess? It's only going to get worse if Seymour's changes and the reduced funding are not challenged. She is the primary minister of education, and this should be a priority for her. And there's an image of the lunch that, what are they called, Crunch? Lunch with Crunch.
That image bigger? I really want to
probably.
take it in, like, and big in that picture. Look at that. Okay. Chat, I apologize ahead of time for this jump scare.
Yeah. I've got
Which one
some
would
more
you
of those
eat?
to go. Yeah.
Which one would you eat? This was today's. Which one? Honestly. Hand on heart.
So for people who are listening to the audio podcast, the lunch with Crunch has got coleslaw and it's got some rice. That looks like egg, like an egg omelette of sorts. Maybe it might be chicken strips actually, and a orange slice. Right now, remember, and we're going to. I've actually bookmarked this page now, Chewie, because I get the sense that it will come back again and again and again. I'm going to say this again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is what we were promised. This is the food that this government said would be school lunches. There's slice, there's fruit, there's yogurt, there's buttered chicken, there's rice and veggies. This is what they promised. This was their standard, right? And this is what they're delivering.
This is
their standard. This is what they're delivering. This is what they're delivering. And I said it at the start of the show, and I'll say it again if any journalists have just joined us. For the love of God, put this image in front of David Seymour and ask him to identify what it is. Lunch with Crunch, we can identify that pretty much. I mean, that's probably breaded chicken. It might be egg strips, but it's pretty identifiable. The food that you said you would be providing the school, we can pretty much identify it. Look, that's an apple. That's fresh and fruity. That's some kind of yummy slice. There is buttered chicken there. We can pretty much identify it. Rice and veggies, buttered chicken probably. That is what's being served. Honestly.
Do you know what it looks like?
What is it?
It looks like that?
It looks like someone's internal organs.
It looks like if you go on an old video game, like on a PS1, it looks like a low res image of a dinner.
Pixelated.
Yeah. Just like, okay, so from here in Dunedin, now we're getting to the pointy end of this. People I think have been like, oh well, we'll see how it goes, we'll let it go. There have been complaints from Dunedin schools. MPI investigating school lunch complaint. The meal on the left there is apparently butter chicken.
Oh, good God.
I assume that they got the recipe from a game of telephone.
Can we do this? Just don't go anywhere because I want to contrast it. So the one on the left is butter chicken.
Yeah.
That's the butter chicken they were promised. The one on the left for Chewies, that's supposed to be butter chicken. That's what they were promised. So we say this all the time, and I don't mean to bore you with it again. We will hold this government to the standard they insisted the last lot were held to, and the standard they set for themselves. They set that standard, and that's what they delivered. Do you want me to give you the screen back? Do you want the screen?
Yep, sure thing. So there have been mislabeled meals, halal friendly, but absolutely nobody's checking on that. They have been burnt. They have been late. They haven't shown up at all. They've had meals mislabeled for kids with dietary restrictions or allergies. One school just had to go out and buy a whole bunch of pizzas because the food didn't arrive.
It's not one school. We had a story a couple of weeks ago. I think we were saying that principals are having sausage sizzles. Teachers and principals are bringing in pizzas sometimes. That's not a one-off. That's something that has been happening.
MPI says it's also aware of an incident where school lunches arrive in a whangarei school with cellophane lids of the packaging already coming off. Burnt, already open meals, not a food safety issue, apparently. We've gone from, oh, okay, they're too expensive or whatever, but they are employing people in the local community. They are using fresh ingredients. They're literally nutritious. They are giving people a way back into employment, and it's localism. All of that is apparently bad, costing the government too much. And there is no greater example of what we have been saying about this government since the start. They know the cost of everything and the value of nothing.
Yeah.
The health and nutrition of the kids for learning, not important. Employing people in the local community, not important. No value. Using local and fresh produce from local producers, there is no value to that. There is value getting a controversial company that has been caught out on scandals, has been lying about the ingredients, has done bribery overseas, and is a big overseas corporation. We have just funneled public money to them. We have gone from wastage of around 5% to wastage of around 70%. So who cares if these meals are $3 if 70% of it is going to landfill? Like, it doesn't matter at that point. They could be free. They're going to landfill. It doesn't matter. You might as well not do. We might as well not do it. That's what it is. You guys bitched and moaned about food for kids so much, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, and that seems to be an accusation by some out there that they're actually just front loading all the bad shit, and then next year there won't be school lunches. They'll just get rid of it altogether.
Shitifying a good idea, so we'll never try it again.